When people get a DUI, particularly a first offense DUI, their big question is, what's going to happen to me? Biggest question anybody has when confronting this situation is, what's going to happen to me? And normally that breaks down into three very important sub-questions. Number one, am I going to go to jail? Number two, am I going to lose my job? And number three, what will happen to my license? Let's take those in order. Am I going to jail? Well, the good news is, at least here in the greater Detroit area of Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and the surrounding counties, the answer is generally no. In fact, it's almost always no. There are a few very limited exceptions where a first offender may find him or herself on the hook to go to jail. For the most part, if you've committed a first offense DUI with proper legal handling, jail can be avoided completely. So don't stay awake at night worrying about that. The second question, will I lose my job? Almost certainly not, unless you rely upon a commercial driver's license to make your living and there is no other work for you at your place of employment. We deal with a lot of people who have medical licenses, for example, doctors, nurses, people who are in physical therapy or in the dental field. The law requires that you report your conviction within 30 days. But again, if handled properly, there's usually an admonition to not do that again, and everything goes on as is. The employer is generally not informed and nobody's any wiser. The third question most people have, what's going to happen to my license? This one's a bit more complicated. For the most part, you will not lose your license. When I say for the most part, here's what I mean. If you are convicted, not charged with, but convicted of high BAC, then your license is suspended for a year, you can't drive for 45 days, and you spend 10.5 months on a restricted license using an interlock. So in other words, basically it's 45 days of no driving. If you're convicted of the most common DUI charge, operating while intoxicated, or OWI, then your license will be suspended for 6 months. You won't be able to drive at all for the first 30 days, and the Secretary of State automatically gives you a license, a restricted license, for the remaining 5 months. There's no interlock required. This makes it important for us in these cases to really work hard to either get the case dismissed or to plea bargain it down to the least serious DUI offense called operating while impaired, because a conviction for operating while impaired merely requires that your license be restricted for 90 days. And that means you can't drive to the gym, you can't drive on a Friday night date, but you can drive to and from and during work and for medical treatment and all of life's necessary purposes. So in terms of going to jail, almost certainly not. Losing your job, almost certainly not. Losing your ability to drive, certainly not over any long-term basis, but you might be inconvenienced for a couple of weeks or so.